What's going on, awesome people? Welcome to another episode of the Impact Retreat Why I Care IG Live series. So good to have you here. If you don't know yet what this series is all about, it's very simple. At Unite and Conquer, we're hosting a retreat in Miami on April 28th through May 1st, and it's called the Unite and Conquer 2022 Impact Retreat. So what is the Impact Retreat? It's essentially the ultimate 4-day experience where Persian entrepreneurs and professionals can come together under one roof and motivate each other, inspire each other, educate each other, enlighten each other, support each other, uplift each other while we work on improving our personal and professional aspects. I think it's an amazing program that we put together, but I am biased. However, just so that we're not super biased, I wanted to have a series with all the presenters and the entertainers and the individuals that are helping and supporting to make this all a reality. And so we've had a few of them so far. My guest today is going to be Sanaz Kalantari, all the way from the land down under in Sydney, Australia. So I appreciate you tuning in. She's a business coach with more than 20 years experience working with large global corporations. She's currently working at Microsoft, but I'm going to have her give her own bio. But it's important for you to know that we're having this retreat April 28th through May 1st. And if you don't know about it, please click the link in my bio. Check it out. I have a feeling that when you look at the website, when you read the itinerary, when you see the awesome people that are presenting, such as Sanaz, you'll see how, wow, this is actually a group of pretty damn impressive individuals that are really just here to help each other out, And on that note, given what's going on, in Russia and Ukraine and what's going on over there, I was having such a difficult time in promoting and sending email blasts about this thing. But then I realized that, the world just needs better leadership, And so it all starts with ourselves to be able to grow ourselves personally and be able to improve different aspects of our life. And then also if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, there's so many other things that you can do to be a better leader. And when you're a better leader and you are selling a better product or service or whatever it may be, you're doing the world a favor by doing that. You're making it better in some shape or form. You're giving opportunity to people who are looking for a job, perhaps. You're giving people opportunity to grow in a position. And so I have a deep amount of respect and admiration for entrepreneurs. And so this is for Persian entrepreneurs. I felt like our Persian entrepreneur community has never had something like this, especially at least not in the English-speaking world of it. So if there are other ones, great. But me and these group of individuals have created it, and we're very excited about it. We have a lot of great energy and momentum building up for it, and we're just looking for a few awesome people who take a look at the itinerary and they're like, oh, you know what? Maybe a few days in Miami to unwind mind, body, spirit, sales, marketing, branding, connection, culture, community, great Persian food, and all that stuff. We can have it all together while having a great time. So looking forward to having you check out the information. But enough about me. I want to bring on Sanaz in just a few moments. I'm just waiting for her to click that request to join button. So Sanaz, whenever you're ready, would love for you to punch that little plus sign on the camera icon and then have you come on. And in the meantime, while she's doing that, if you're in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, especially because I just saw DJ Kia on here too, we're having Charsham Suri event at the University of Maryland College Park on Friday, March 11th, featuring DJ Kia and DJ Yazan. It's going to be a great time with the University of Maryland Iranian Studios Foundation. And here is Sanaz. Go live in a few seconds because it's all the way from Sydney, Australia. But in 3, 2, 1, 0, here she is, the lovely Sanaz.
Hi.
Hi, Sanaz. How are you?
I'm good. We're good considering the wild weather in Sydney. But
yeah, I saw, but it seems like everything is stable. Good morning to you all the way over there.
Everything is good. Thank you. And I wanted to say thank you for recognizing what is going on in the world, because I think it's totally important for us to start knowing and recognizing what's happening in the world before we kind of start shifting into what we want to talk about. So
I mean, it's been super hard when I'm sending these emails. I just feel like it's hard to avoid this topic, So the prayers are out there, and I just hope that these kind of things subside as quickly as possible. But it's definitely a dark time in the world, and hopefully we find peace sometime soon.
Indeed.
All I know, at least we are doing our best to do something good for the world, and it is the Impact Retreat, and you've blessed us with your time, your expertise, your talents, your great energy, your smile to be one of the presenters, and have helped so much as a volunteer to just get the entire program to this point. A lot of viewers who watch this, they don't exactly know the role of the presenters. They don't realize they had such an integral part to do with the entire program to get us here. So thank you, first of all, for all that time and energy and just being a part of this. And then you're also one of the presenters as a business coach. And so I would like for you to just give a little bit of a personal and professional background in your own words on how you got here.
Sure, my pleasure. So I was born in Iran and in Tehran, grew up until I was 14. That's when we first came to Australia. I finished my high school here. I also had my share of back and forth to Iran with my family, like many, many of us have had. But I came back here when I was 19 and studied in my university and became an Australian citizen. And this became home. Really, Sydney became home. And professionally, I actually started my career in the technology industry. I think I thought I was destined to design satellite system and power stations for telecommunication companies. But the interesting thing was when I actually started working for many of these large organizations, I shifted my career towards more the sales, marketing, business side of things, which is what I think the people side of things really resonated with me. And I was more interested in the organizational side of things, the sales side of things. And yes, I've done all sorts of stuff in the corporate. I have held many roles in client relationship management. And finally, I guess I realized that what I was really interested in was organizational culture and learning and development and adult education, which is where I am right now in Microsoft. I work as a learning business program manager and really enjoying it there. Now, alongside my career, I have my own little secret life as a professional, certified professional coach. And that's also been its own journey of studying for the past 12 years, student of coaching and practice of coaching individuals and groups. And I started with International Coach Academy back in 2010, I want to say, which is an International Coach Federation organized institute. I've done neuro-linguistic programming certification. I've worked with the Ford Institute in San Diego, which, if anyone's interested, they do a lot of shadow work and a lot of sort of integrative leadership coaching. But what I'm really passionate about is the latest work I've done with the IPEC Institute and energy coaching. It's energy leadership and this idea of understanding engagement and energy and how we really become better leaders, which I think you alluded to at the beginning. So that's what I'll be bringing, the work I'll be doing with the entrepreneurs in Miami. And we can go through what that means a little bit later, but that's a little bit of background, how I came to be where I am.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. So for, the word coaching gets thrown around for a wide range of industries. In your case, like, what is professional coaching? How would you describe exactly the role that you play?
Yeah, love that. So let me give you a little bit about how I even got attracted to becoming a coach. The way I reflect back on my career and kind of when I started, and as I was saying, as I started my career, I started kind of questioning my choices to kind of go, is this really what I wanted to do? And I think at some point through the struggles of corporates and understanding, teams and understanding different people and observing myself. And, if anyone's worked in corporates, they kind of know that it's got its ups and downs and stress and you start really questioning. And I think I gave myself permission. I think that's the key, to really ask, what do I want? And that's where coaching, I think, starts, whether you are, it's really that first question to go, if I didn't have fear, what would I do? And what is it that I actually want to do? And that led me to realize that there's a lot of things I don't know about myself. And there's a lot of things that I have to work through and frankly haven't paid attention to throughout my university and all of that. And it became a growth and exploration opportunity for me. And I think when we realize when we're not energetically engaged in a type of work or a task or a project, or we're not optimally performing in our life, there's always some sort of blocker. It's either an external blocker or an internal blocker. And usually the internal blocker is when you really kind of start exploring those are limiting beliefs about possibilities in the world or possibilities that you can kind of create. There could be false assumptions from the past that affects us today. They are false interpretations about other people's words, intentions, actions, and the sort of fear that we're not capable enough or we're not good enough to achieve what we want. So this is what it comes down to, I think, when we start really asking the question of what do I want, and if I could do anything, what would I do? And that led me to coaching, and it really started as a personal development journey. And when I started studying, I realized that there's actually a whole world of professional coaching. There's a whole International Coach Federation. There is a whole lot of competencies that exist out there. And while I was working through my own personal development, applying these things in my own life, I realized that there's a tremendous amount of opportunity. I kind of had this vision of how do you become a professional coach, and really coaching. The truth about professional coaching is partnering with a client or your counterpart and taking them through a process that really improves performance and focuses on the here and now, not the past, although we dig into the past to try and find out what are those beliefs and I guess interpretations that we're bringing to the present. But really coaching is to unlock potential and to really maximize performance. So that's in a nutshell what coaching is, and you know, how I kind of became really attracted to it, and obviously the sort of work that I do. And I guess the vision I've always had hasn't really left me in terms of how do I take this bigger beyond my own job, beyond my own organization, and how do I kind of take this to more communities.
So you basically, you know, you were on your own journey, and then you found why you were on this journey, and then by unlocking what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing and in your purpose, you wanted to make sure that you help other people unlock their inner desires of what they want to do. Correct? So that's pretty much what kind of made you continue doing that.
Absolutely. And another thing is that I think coaching is all about asking empowering questions. And I think as I started asking those empowering questions, I realized that when I ask the same questions from other people, they have the same realization and they go through their own exploration journey. And that's what I realized, that there is this sort of, I guess, this desire that I have to really kind of expand this. And I may also just add, coaching can also be very surface in terms of, hey, I hate my job. You know, I don't know why I'm doing this. I wish I had another job. That could be the first response that you get from people. And we could just go down the path of, okay, I know what you want, so let's solve the problem that you've got today and help you get another job. That's kind of, there's a lot of coaching that gets done at that level. I think what I'm really passionate about is getting to the root of the problem, which is, I think, what I talked about in terms of how do we help someone go through their own exploration, get a little deeper, ask them, why are you unsatisfied in your job? What is it that, maybe it has to do with the job, maybe you're in the wrong job, or maybe it's to do with your core programming or your belief, your own limitations and something that you're imposing on yourself. Or maybe, because if we don't ask those questions, then we can't create sustainable change. And that's where I think coaching really is powerful.
Sorry to cut you off. So is that what the Energy Leadership Index assessment pretty much deciphers? Is that the part of it, or just a part of it?
So that's part of it. So let me talk a little bit about energy leadership. So the assessment is actually, so all the work, the disclaimer is that all the work that I might be talking about around core energy dynamics or energy leadership is really based on the book Energy Leadership by Bruce Schneider, and the work that IPEC Institute, and Bruce is a founder of IPEC Institute, that kind of puts out there. So if I'm referring to this type of coaching, it's specific through a framework and a process around understanding energy, understanding leadership, and understanding the dynamics of energy that we have. So I can go through that a little bit and then explain what the Energy Leadership Index is, which is really an attitudinal assessment that really helps a leader, an entrepreneur, anyone, and we'll talk about leader, who is a leader, anyone really, who wants to unlock their potential, wants to probably understand what's going on with them right now. And the difference between Energy Leadership Index and many of the personality assessments or other assessments that we do is that this one really measures your attitude towards what's going on in your life right now. So let's start with what leadership is, right? Maybe that's a good one.
Yeah, of course, sure.
And I really define leadership again in this context that leadership is anyone. Actually, everyone is a leader, either by choice or by default. So leadership is not just the CEO or the manager or anyone who has people reporting to them or, you know, a president. This is really about all of us, Iman, you, me, everyone, parents, entrepreneurs, coaches, therapists, teachers, really anyone who is dealing with people is a leader in their own kind of community. Mm-hmm. So the idea is, if you don't think of yourself as a leader, you're actually limited in your own thinking. So you need to open that up. And leading is the way that we actually help other people move into action, or actually how we move ourselves into action. So there's personal leadership. And I guess what I love is kind of really unpack this for us in the retreat, and really unpack it for anyone who wants to get into this sort of work. That's really the first realization, that when we talk about leadership, we're talking about every single one of us, and how do we take, how do we grow as a leader? How do we learn how to lead? It's not really the question of whether you're a leader or not. It's actually how well you lead. So there's a lot to unpack, but I think for me, when I realized that and really reframed my own thinking, it opened up a huge amount of possibilities around my own personal development, and so much to learn and so much to kind of unpack. And yeah, if we really think about Energy Leadership Index, that in this particular framework, we talk about two types of energy. We either have a catabolic energy, which is a destructive force, and or we have anabolic energy. Destructive and tearing down forces are, you know, the energy that we've all kind of experienced at some point in our life. There's frustrations, there's anger, there's that sort of apathy, there is victim mindset, all of that. And you see that even at a global kind of level. I mean, we're talking about it right at the beginning. You know, catabolic energy is exactly that. It's a tearing down. It's still a lot of energy, but it's not necessarily a constructive type of energy. And that's at an individual level as well as at group level. Then we have what we call anabolic energy, which is all the positive kind of joyful energy and happiness and, you know, I guess engagement and willingness and enthusiasm and all of that. So the ELI assessment helps you kind of understand your overall energetic representation. And there's 7 layers of this. 2 of them are catabolic, and the other 5 are anabolic. And how do we show up in the world? We have our own energy representation. And then we have a stress response. What happens when we actually get stressed? What sort of energy do we put out there? How quickly do we go into a catabolic energy? And what happens in our own mindset and all of that. So the assessment measures that, and it gives us a really good baseline as a leader to understand where we are, and then through the coaching processes, or, you know, even pick which are the areas of our lives that we want to actually focus on, and the coaching process comes into that.
So how can we become better leaders? I mean, I know that there's just so many things that we can do, but like right off the top, like, you know, just a few little nuggets that you can give that we can kind of improve how we are as leaders. What would you recommend?
Great question. So let's talk about. I think when we talk about leadership, maybe also the whole concept of success comes into the conversation. Or how do I become a successful leader? Or how do I become a high-performing leader? These are the words that kind of get thrown around in organizations, or when you talk to an executive, or you know, any business owner. How do I become successful? So maybe I'll pause here and talk a little bit about success. Some people define success as financial or career benchmarking. A lot of other people might define success by their relationships, or, you know, the mark that they're leaving in the world, or a certain sense of peace that they want to achieve. But whatever that measure actually is, it's more likely achieved when you are top of your game. And what does top of your game mean? You know, whatever that is, it's a whole lot of, again, level of energy and engagement that you kind of bring into your game. So we can operate at that level. And I guess that the whole idea is to have that question of, what does success look like for me? how do I become better at understanding the journey that I'm going through? And I'm going to put this one out there because I'm really passionate about this. This concept of there's no such thing as finally getting it right.
Mm.
And I think if we want to become better leaders, we've got to somehow get to that concept and really deeply understand that we often set goals. And that's actually the work that we do as coaches. We help leaders or anyone set goals to say, where do you want to actually get to? And we all have goals in our life. You know, I want to, it's part of success planning. But I want to get my PhD. I want to get married. I want to find my next role. We get that a lot. You know, usually people come to coaches to say, I want to find my next job. I'm not happy in what I do. I want my business to make this much money. So these are all great external motivating factors and great, great in terms of getting us into action. And if we know how to set goals, we'll definitely find ways to move towards that. But I think I'll go back to what I was saying. Great leaders realize that while goals are motivating, living in the moment and in the present time means that not to measure success by the realization of the goal. So in other words, it's actually defining success in the process that you can decide what does success look like for you. And I think that's a huge reminder. If you are, that doesn't mean that we disconnect ourselves from our goals. That doesn't mean that we don't work on our communication skills. That doesn't mean that we don't work on removing conflicts or, becoming more engaged into what we do and understanding our own stress responses, all of that. But what I think it really comes down to is realizing that there's no such thing as finally getting it right.
Definitely. It's all the process. and actually our very own Seppi just has a great question, which I want to ask. How do you suggest to elevate individuals around us to lead collectively? How do you suggest to elevate individuals around us to lead collectively? Thank you for that question, Seppi.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think what that comes down to is the whole idea of inspiration and influence.
Mm-hmm.
So there is actually a level of energy, going back to the energy and our perception. There is a level of energy that we can tap into, and that's typically level 6 energy, which is that's where we realize through a different mindset, through really different beliefs that we hold at that moment around people around us, around our own limitations that we have removed. And this sort of idea of being in a level 6 energy puts us in a connection with other people. Even the language that we would use in that level of energy is already elevated, and it inspires others. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to raise our own level of inspiration first before we can inspire and influence people around us. Because energy
I love that.
travels. The way we show up will naturally, people will feel elevated. But it's really that sort of deep level that we show up at. So again, it comes back to internal work. It comes back to looking at what is it that's blocking us to tap into that level of energy and show up with inspiration and influence and communicate into that sort of level.
That was beautiful. I appreciate that insight. So when we have all these different things such as leadership and we have energy, what is it exactly you're going to be tying into the presentations or the presentation for the Impact Retreat that you believe would be of true value to the Persian entrepreneurs that we have coming?
Yeah. Great. So the ELI assessment is an individual assessment, and I'm hoping that we can actually get that with the entrepreneurs. We actually get them to do the ELI assessment. I'll have a little bit of time to debrief each of them on what is all of this. And there's a little bit of education and there's a little bit of conversation that happens. What happens at the back of that, there is, again, the study of all of these energy leads us to what we call a core energy dynamics process, which is really how all of these dynamics work together. So in the retreat, or hopefully beyond the retreat, there'll be opportunities to really talk about what does those individual energetic profiles and how do we determine what we're trying to do in life and as a leader, and set goals around that and really kind of tie that back into how we're showing up. So the process is called, again, Coherent Energy Dynamics. There's a lot to unpack in that, where we raise our awareness around influences in our lives. You know, life is full of things that we are influenced by: our emotional influences, our spiritual, our social, physical, there's environmental. And really, the more we raise our awareness and work with a coach, or, you know, really kind of dig into that, it really helps us put everything into perspective and help kind of move towards goals, move towards more realization and fulfillment and joy, and really kind of tap into the right energy. So that's the idea. The idea is that for those who are interested, there is a process that really around exploration and understanding, that through the assessment that really kind of reveals a lot about the person, and hopefully brings a lot of self-awareness and raises those leadership qualities into that.
I love it. I don't know how in the world this 25 minutes came by so quickly. So I want to at least get to the last part of it, which has to do with the name of the whole IG Live series. Yeah. And I want to ask you, Sanaz, you know, what is it that attracted you to wanting to spend this incredible amount of time behind the scenes to be a part of the Impact Retreat and be a part of this Unite and Conquer family that we're trying to build? I would love to hear from your own words.
Absolutely. So when we first had this conversation, I don't know if you remember, but I said, oh, I love this idea because it's at the level 6 energy. And you're kind of like, what are you talking about? So that's what I feel
great.
Like there is these sort of opportunities to connect people, these sort of global ideas. I just get attracted to them. I love these sort of opportunities. I've always worked for global organizations. So this idea of no borders and don't worry about, you know, where everybody is really kind of dear to me. So I love working on global projects. I love working on ideas that really bring positive impact. And of course, I love being part of the Persian communities and professionals, and kind of like have our own little, you know, cultural aspects to that. So I got very attracted to the opportunity, and I wanted to help kind of shape that and create success around that. And another thing that's always kind of stuck in my mind, I heard a quote that was, don't think globally, act globally, but do something. Doesn't have to be huge. Just take the first step and just assess and see if that gives you success, if your actions are making any sort of difference, and then kind of take the next step. And this is why I wanted to be part of this. It ticks all the amazing box around why I care and why I want to bring this work to other people. So I'm really excited to be part of it.
I mean, I'm so grateful for the number 6, the fact that it gravitated towards you, and you are, you have the energy aligned together. I don't know what we did to deserve you being a part of this, but I'm very grateful. And I just feel like there's so much value in what you're able to share and inspire into other people, and helping them unlock that. What am I doing? What should I do? How can I get to where I want to go? That's, I mean, to be such a mentor and be such a guide for people, that must be such a rewarding feeling. So kudos to you for being able to, you know, provide that flashlight for people, and then, you know, share your expertise and experience to help them find a way. It's a great career to be in. I love it.
Thank you. My pleasure. And thank you for, taking the first step on this. I've had an amazing time meeting all these amazing people that are behind the scenes, and we're all putting our, you know, time together, time in, and everyone's working together. You know, every single person on the team has been a pleasure to meet, and I'm grateful for all the new friendships, and looking forward to, you know, more and more of them.
Yeah, and on a personal note, I really look up to you in being able to make sure that we're always operating at level 6. You know, it's a rough ride sometimes, and last week I had my own downs itself, but like just talking to you like helped me calm down as well, and just kind of get recalibrated. So what you do works. That's all I can tell you. Like I kind of did a reset because of the conversation that I had with you. So I believe in everything that you do. It's amazing stuff, and hopefully I can help continue to lead all of you leaders so that we can all make the collective impact that we want. So I appreciate you very much, Sanaz, and enjoy the rest of your day in beautiful Sydney. And we look forward to working together April 28th through May 1st in Miami.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Iman. Thanks,
Have a good day. Thank you, Sanaz. Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as Sanaz logs off, just a friendly reminder that tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, my guest is, I'm sorry, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, my guest is going to be the honorary guest speaker, Brian Tolaby. Brian Tolaby is an impressive serial entrepreneur, and I really cannot wait until you get to know all the amazing things that he's doing. So 4 p.m. Eastern Time, right here, IG Live, our honorary guest speaker, Brian Tolaby. He's built a business that's worth over $100 million right now and doing some incredible stuff in the educational space too. So please be sure to tune in. And if you want some more information regarding the retreat, please click link in bio. And if you're not an entrepreneur or it's just not for you or the dates doesn't work out, please do us a huge favor and just send the link to somebody else. Send it to the most awesome entrepreneur that you know. I'm eternally grateful for everybody that's a part of this, the entire retreat, from Brian to Farhang to Sepide to Nikki to Pedram to Sanaz to Behjat to Kia to Azadeh. I just want to always constantly give a shout out to Negar and Paris up from Montreal. So it's an incredible group, and we just want to make sure that we can help out as many other fellow Persians and Persian entrepreneurs. So if you're interested, message me, click the link in bio, and have a good rest of the day until I see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. Much love, and thank you again, Sanaz, for joining.